Mrs. Griffith here. I am in the pumpkin patch again today, and we are going to be making our own pumpkins. This time of year it starts getting colder and the leaves start changing and pumpkins start showing up everywhere. So I figured that we need to learn how to make some, okay? So we are going to just make a regular little pumpkin, and this is what mine looks like, but yours will be completely different. Because if you've ever looked at a pumpkin patch, nothing there looks the same. There's big ones, little ones, some that are sideways, some that are long and skinny, some that are short and fat. There's all kinds of different ones. So your pumpkin is not going to look the same as someone else's pumpkin. So we're just going to go through a few simple steps that will help you create a pumpkin, okay? So you're going to start with a piece of paper, white paper if you have it, or another color if you choose, you can. White paper helps it to stand out. You're going to also use some cardstock, something that's a little thicker than like printing paper, so that you can cut. And when you're cutting, you'll see it on the video, but just so I can show you, you're cutting and then you're making kind of like a hot dog, okay? It's like a little hot dog shape. Now how you cut this will depend on the type of pumpkin that you create. So if you wanted one that was just a little bit different looking, you could like make it a little pointy, and it could be pointy on the top. But what you're going to create is a stencil, and that'll be what you're using on your pumpkin. So in the drawing you'll see, on the next video, you'll see that part, okay? So I want you to have fun with your pumpkins. I want you to create something that is just like you. You can even put a face on it if you want to draw a pumpkin face or a happy face, whatever you want to do. Get creative, all right? It's all up to you. All right, happy fall. All right, today we are going to get ready to do a fall pumpkin scene. So you're going to take a piece of paper that's kind of like a heavy paper. Could be cardstock or just any kind of harder paper to trace around. You're going to cut out just a little kind of an oval. And then you're going to open it up, and that's going to be your pumpkin stencil. Put it flat in the middle of your page and use a black marker. Any kind of marker will do, or a pen, and you're going to outline it. Now, depending upon how you cut your oval, it'll look a little bit different. Some might look a little rounder, and some might be more square. But you're just going to start tracing around the half sides, and you're going to create the look of the bumps on the pumpkin. Using the stencil makes it easier, so you don't have to draw freehand. And pumpkins are just like anything else in nature. They don't have to be perfect to look like a real pumpkin. So we're going to try to create one that looks a little bit like a pumpkin in a pumpkin patch by just putting the lines in more and more as we see our eye just wants to fill it in. So it's up to you how many lines you want to put in that pumpkin. If you want to keep going, or if you want to make a bigger space. Then you're going to use the tops to make the background of the pumpkin to kind of look like it's the top of the pumpkin. So just use the corner of your stencil. Now you're going to get an orange, and you're going to color around the edges, but not all the way to the black. You're going to make a little outline, and then you're going to color it in. That way it helps you to stay within your lines coloring, and you have a little bit more control. We're going to go all the way up to the edges, and then later on we'll fill those edges in when we want to do a little bit of shading and highlights. So just keep coloring. This one you'll notice was smaller, a smaller space, so I just went right to the line. But most of the other ones I'm going to go a little bit away from the black. It also helps keep my marker cleaner for when I want to do the big spaces in orange, because a little bit of that black will rub off, which I like it if I'm using it for a shade. Then it makes it a little bit darker orange, and it kind of looks like a shade in the background. But for the front sides of the pumpkin, I like to leave some of the white, so it'll be like a highlight. Using the darks and the lights, it allows us to create form on your shape. If I was to just draw the shape of a pumpkin and color it all orange, one color, it would just look like it was flat on the page. Because I added the dark and light lines, it'll come off the page a little bit more, and it'll look more like a 3D. So now I'm going back over my lines, and I'm choosing the pieces that I want to have left light, and then I'm going up to the black for those areas where I want to have a little bit of shade. And I'll actually color on top of the black if I want it to be darker and a darker orange. Anything that would have a shadow cast upon it will be a little bit darker. I'm going to draw a little stem. Stems are different depending upon how they're cut off the vine, but they kind of grow like a little apple core. And then of course we always have to draw the bottom so that it's not just floating in space. And next I'm going to draw some little lines that are going to be my little vines, which until the pumpkin is picked from the patch, there's still going to be a little bit of green on there because it's alive. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow just for fun. And I'll put that in where I left the white. Kind of give it a contrast of colors. And then a couple of them I'll leave white. Just for a variation. And there you have it. Happy fall.